Hello, kids! Welcome to Tiny Sparkling's YouTube channel. This is a story about the ugly duckling. Let's get right into the video. Once upon a time, in a quaint little barnyard, there was a plain-looking little duckling who was constantly teased and mocked by his brothers and sisters, as well as by the other birds and animals on the farm. They called him the ugly duckling, and he never quite fit in with the rest of them. His feathers were dull and his beak was crooked, making him an easy target for ridicule. Fed up with the constant taunting, the ugly duckling decided to run away from the barnyard and live with a flock of wild ducks and geese. At first he felt relieved to be surrounded by new faces who didn't know about his past, but his happiness was short-lived. One day, hunters shot down the flock, leaving the ugly duckling alone and lost once again. Desperate for a place to call home, the ugly duckling stumbled upon an old woman's cottage. The woman took pity on him and allowed him to stay, but her cat and hen were not as welcoming. They too made fun of the ugly duckling's appearance, and he knew it was time to move on. So he continued his journey through the countryside, wandering aimlessly until he came across a majestic flock of migrating swans. Enthralled by their beauty and grace, the ugly duckling longed to join them, but he knew he was too young and inexperienced to keep up. With a heavy heart, he watched as they flew away, leaving him behind once again. As winter set in, the ugly duckling found himself in the care of a kind farmer who rescued him from the cold. However, the farmer's children and the other animals on the farm were loud and boisterous, scaring the ugly duckling away yet again. He sought refuge in a dark cave, spending a long and lonely winter huddled in the shadows. But as the days grew longer and the sun began to warm the earth, the ugly duckling felt a newfound sense of hope. He ventured out of his hiding place and made his way to a nearby lake, where he saw the flock of swans he had admired so much before. To his surprise, they welcomed him with open wings, treating him as one of their own. As the ugly duckling gazed at his reflection in the clear waters of the lake, he gasped in astonishment. Gone was the plain little bird he once was. In his place stood a magnificent swan with shimmering white feathers and a graceful neck. He had transformed into a creature of beauty and elegance, just like the swans who had accepted him. When the flock of swans took flight, the ugly duckling spread his wings and soared into the sky alongside them. Finally, he had found a family who accepted him for who he truly was, a beautiful and majestic swan. And as they flew off into the sunset, the ugly duckling felt a sense of belonging and happiness that he had never experienced before. He had finally found his true home. That's the end of the story. Subscribe to Tiny Sparklings for more videos on kids' fun.